And so to that end, you strongly defend and creatively utilize your own voice and defend the voices of others. So when it comes to creatively utilizing it, when did you start experimenting with your own voice? Like, did it accompany drumming, or did that sort of emerge separately? Like, tell me more about that.
I feel as a young person, what's so interesting is that young people and young women of color, young queer women of color, young people in the minority are so underestimated all the time. And the worst part about that is that we then believe it. And as a kid, I feel like I was lucky to have strong parents who did encourage me, both my dad and my mom in their own ways really allowed me to rise to my own potential. But there's so many things in society that expect very little from us, expect the basics. And so I feel I never want to do that to somebody else. I want to see somebody's potential and not let my own unconscious biases prevent their ability to reach their fullest. And I think as a kid, no one ever was like, oh, you're a drummer, why don't you sing? Oh, you're a drummer, why don't you produce? Oh, you're a drummer, have you ever thought about using Ableton Live? Oh, you're a drummer, have you ever thought about making and producing your own beats? Oh, you're a drummer, have you ever thought about engineering your own session? Oh, you're a drummer, have you ever thought about opening or touring with somebody else? Like, no one did that for me. In fact, me wanting to drum for MIA or me wanting to drum for Thievery Corporation was something that I don't even know where that came from. I felt like that was a dream of mine, but no one made that leap for me. No one was like, oh, that's a no-brainer. You know, people just really underestimated me. And people continue to underestimate me, right? Like, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
And so I think I started owning my own voice when I would spend time with other boys or men or whatever and like realize how easy a lot of shit is. You know, I was on my panel earlier today and I was like, I'll go and hang out with other male producers and they're trying to flex, and I'm like, really, just because you run an oscillator through some sort of effects channel, you want me to be like hella here to masturbate your ego? Like, that shit is so easy. Fucking YouTube tutorial can teach you that shit in 5 minutes. So when I started seeing how accessible a lot of this stuff was, I felt a little bit frustrated. I was like, damn, this is so much easier than everyone makes it out to be, and this sort of like closed-minded gatekeeper thing is actually a closed-minded gatekeeper mentality, because they realize that it's actually very easy for a lot of us to participate and actually run laps around them. So I think I started owning my voice when I realized, wow, if I actually step into my own potential, I have so much to offer, and then I can use that to go to bat for others and to actually pull up for other brown women and for other women of color and for other young women and other queer women, other trans women, and actually be like, I see you. Fuck all these other people who don't, I see you. And that's really the futurist female concept. It's like, if you water us, we will grow. If you step on us, we will believe it. Because anytime someone's put me down, I have believed it. And anytime someone's raised me up, I believe that. Mm-hmm. So my message in my work is about me showing up for myself and my body and my skill sets, so that I'm therefore brave enough and strong enough to show up for the potential of others who look and sound like me.
One more question. So let me set this one up. So Durham is a place where I think that very message is extremely powerful, because there is such a strong, I don't want to call it counterculture, but a strong counterculture that creates its own spaces, demands to be seen. And I recognize a lot of people out at the show last night from different activist movements and like creative circles.
So happy.
No, it was really great to see and be a part of, and but at the same time, Durham's a place where the changes to the city, gentrification, the development, sort of makes those spaces all the more, I think, attractive to gatekeepers, meanwhile becoming really important, growing in its importance as people flock to the city. So with your experiences of travel, of visiting different communities as you performed, I'd like to sort of ask you what your advice is, and what sort of some of the challenges you may have seen, and what gives you hope about really occupying space in a tangible way.
I think one of the biggest complaints that I hear from people in local communities, especially smaller communities, is that they're competitive, and that even in the scenes of color communities, of women, in the minority communities even, I find that the biggest complaint is that the vibe is competitive, or that the vibe is oversaturated, or that there's only so many DJ gigs or only so many opportunities to play music, and so then the same people get the opportunities over and over again. And I remember feeling a little bit like that in DC. When I was at Georgetown, I was also trying to find my way as a percussionist and as an emerging drummer, because the gigs were occupied and those drummers who were getting called over and over were the same drummers. But my thing that I've always learned in my life is that if I contribute to reducing the stress of somebody else, they will continue to call me for the job. And so I used to go real humble and literally, like, there was a drummer at 18th Street Lounge, which is Thievery Corporation's venue, and I used to literally ask him if I could come early to help him load the drums. And he was like, yes, little mama, like, you can definitely come and help me load the drums. Like, you're tiny as fuck, but, like, sure, you know? and I would come, and I would be so grateful. And then after weeks of doing that, he would let me sit in, you know? And it would say, you want to play congas on this song? And I'd be like, yes, oh my god, it would be an honor to play congas on this song. So then I played congas. Then from there, they would ask me to come play congas on a couple songs. Homie's like, yo, this little mama wants to play congas, and I could take a break and have a joint backstage and take a beer, like, play all the congas you want, you know? And I was so there for it. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it was 2010, and I was sort of, like, growing into that scene and really coming humble and early, and, like, not there to, like, drink other people's alcohol, but there to work and help. And then I got this gig to play percussion at Bonnaroo and fill in, you know, with Thievery Corporation. And so the best advice that I have is, instead of feeling entitled to something, instead of having expectations of what people owe you, instead of letting your anger, you know, turn into a negative energy, the best advice I have for communities is for each individual person to always ask, what can I contribute? What can I contribute in this moment? Because if you're always contributing value, you will always be invited to the party.